Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Sports for Champions podcast. Today I'm joined by Team GB's 400 metre runner Kevin Metzger. How are you, Kevin?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Thank
Good.
you for joining us today. So if we could, I'd like to start. I know recently that you transitioned from triple jump to 400 metres. Can you tell us a little bit about why?
It's a good question, and like I've been asked that question so many times, and I feel like I should have an answer already now, like prepared, but no, I don't. But I think I was triple jumping from the age of like 14 up until whenever I switched over to 400, maybe it was 21. And although I'd had like successes in it, I just felt like I got to the point where I was kind of just plateauing in a sense and needed something fresh, needed a change. And I think it was the end of 2019, I started doing some more sprints, like ones, twos and stuff, and I qualified for British champs in the 100. I did it there, I really enjoyed it. And then I just randomly did a 400 as well and got like, I think 49.7, which is like, you know, a decent time. So I just thought, going into the next season, why don't I try something new? And for 400 as well, there's a lot more opportunities because they'll take a team of like 6-7 athletes for like the relay and stuff, whereas triple jump you have to be, you know, best one or two and get the standard. So yeah, I just thought I'd try it, and yeah, that's what I did.
That's awesome. So you were national champion when you were doing triple jump.
Yeah.
So obviously that must have been quite a lot to feel like you're moving away. Was it a bit nerve-wracking not knowing where you'd kind of lie in the rankings?
No, I think I was just excited about it, and I had confidence that like if I worked hard, that I could do well in it. No, I knew I had some speed from doing shorter sprints and stuff, and I just thought if I work hard on my endurance, why not? Yeah.
So within the first 6 months, I think, of moving over to the 400 metres, you were in the top 10 in the UK. That must have been quite affirming for you.
Yeah, I think like the first little breakthrough I had. So I started training for 400 in, say, October 2019, and then I did my indoor season, did okay. I think I got like semis of British champs. I think I got like 48.0 or something. And then I think it was in we had like the lockdown and stuff, and I trained really hard during that lockdown, like in the woods, like behind my house, and then I think it was in July I ran 46.7, which is like a big PB, and the first time I like broke through into the top 10 and stuff. I think I was lying like 5th when I did it, so that was the first good time like I ran, and that was really exciting.
Yeah. How was the lockdown? Because obviously a lot of people, especially in sports like triple jump, won't have had access to the proper sandboxes and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But obviously
Obviously it was really difficult, but I enjoyed the opportunity to train, because where I live, the house backed onto the woods, and every day I was in there, I was sprinting, running up hills. I've got some weights as well. I was just training as much as I could because that's all I could really do, and I think that really helped. It really helps, like having that break from competition where I could just train and work on things I thought I needed to work on. So I think it really helped my season and helped me develop in the event.
Which do you think the training is most intense for? Or is it fairly similar?
Well, I think do you mean between 400 and triple jump?
Yeah.
I think it's weird because I chose like two events that are both kind of notoriously hard. The triple jump is really hard on, I mean, it's difficult on the joints, and after a triple jump workout the next day you'll be aching, and 400 is just hard in a different way, like with lactic and doing long running workouts, like you'll be feeling sick after it and stuff. So they're both very difficult, but I'd say the 400 training's harder overall, but the triple jump's probably more frustrating because of the technical element to it. No, you can be really fit, but it doesn't mean you're gonna jump far. Whereas with 400, if you're in shape, you're probably gonna do okay.
I have read that there's so much technique, obviously, to triple jump, but I also read that I've seen 400 meters described as 40 odd seconds of hell, basically.
Yeah, I think I'd say it's the last 10 seconds that's difficult, and then the 20-30 minutes after it when you're just on the floor in pain. So yeah, it's hard event.
Is there somewhere you go to mentally when you get into that last 10 seconds in order to push through?
Yeah, I mean, I think you go there in training. You try and go there in training as often as you can so that you're used to it for the race. But you definitely do kind of have to go to a different place or be ready to go there. I think sometimes I've not done well in a race just because I've genuinely not been willing to go to that place, or just not being prepared to go through the pain. So I think I really have to be like mentally prepared for a race. Yeah.
And then how much would you say is the playoff between the mental and the physical for you?
I think it's really big. Yeah, like you'd be lining up against 7-8 other guys who are, you might all be separated by half a second in your PB. So it's just who's prepared the best for that day, or who's willing to go for it. I think in a 400 you can go out hard and run a quick time, but you might also fatigue a lot. So sometimes it's just whoever takes that risk and is willing to go to that place and take it out. So I think that the mental side of it, especially on race days, is big.
Awesome. So obviously, having transitioned between two sports, I imagine that the athleticism is 100% there for you. Is that something you've always known?
Yeah, I've always been athletic. Like, sport's always been like my main thing. As far as I can remember, I've always been running around and playing loads of different sports, and yeah, something I enjoy. So I think that because I grew up doing lots of different sports, so I think switching from event to event doesn't really feel like a big thing to me. Like, they're all just athletic movements, and yeah, I'm kind of used to it, I think.
Yeah. So you said you were 14, I think, when you first tried triple jump.
Yeah.
What were you doing up to then?
So I started playing football when I was like 9 or 10. I played for Rochdale's Academy for like 5 years, and then I spent a little bit of time at the City's Academy in Manchester City, and then Burnley. I played tennis when I was younger. I did cross country in school, so I did all sorts of sports. My parents just kind of threw me into different things, but I enjoyed doing that. And then I started athletics at around the same age as football, maybe 10, 11, and I was just doing sprints and long jump until then. Just not training hard or anything, just competing, having fun. And then I started triple jump when I was 14.
Cool. Do you remember that first run on triple jump? Do you remember that?
Yeah. So I really wanted to do triple jump. I remember watching it when I was really young. I've always been was drawn to it and enjoyed the event. And I remember asking my coach, I might have been 12, 13, can I do it, basically? But he was kind of delaying it a little bit because it's a pretty demanding event. And then he let me try it when I was 14 in training, and I jumped the standard in training that would take you to the English schools, and I'd never qualified for that competition before. And English schools is like the kids' Olympics, so I did that in training, and then I qualified for the English schools like a week later or something. And then from then I was basically a triple jump because I was way better. That was like my best event at the time. So
it's straight off the bat essentially for you.
Yeah, I'd come back from like a 3-month injury and then tried triple jump, and it went well. And then I did that for the next 6-7 years.
And then do you remember the first real success at competition level in triple jump?
Yeah, it was probably my first real success in athletics. But I think when I was 14, I jumped 13.39, I think it was, and it put me rank 1 in the UK by like 60 centimeters. And then it was the first time I'd been the best in the UK for my age, and I just felt like I was amazing, like I was the best thing ever. But I think that was my first like success. And then I won a national title when I was for under 15s, and that was like my first success.
Is that when you kind of run back to your parents like, oh my God?
I remember like I did like a meter PB, and I was like just super shocked. And it's just one of those like really good moments.
And what was the steepest learning curve? And it sounds like you took to it really well, to be fair.
Yeah, well, it sounds like that, but do you mean the steepest learning curve just in like my career?
More so for triple jump in particular, yeah.
I think it was just getting beat loads of times when you're younger. Like, so when you're under 15, I was the best, and the next year you go into under 17 against people a year older than you, and then you're just getting beat all the time. So I just think through failure and through losses, that was like a big learning curve. And I think from the age of like maybe 18 to 21, before I switched to triple jump, those were like my hardest years so far in athletics. Like, I was just jumping maybe around 15 all the time, not really getting any success, it felt like, and just felt like I was really trying but not really getting much out of it, and little injuries and stuff. I think I've not had one big moment where like it was a big learning curve. I think it was just constant failures basically. Yeah.
I think obviously failure and coming back from it builds resilience.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And as you say, you plateaued earlier, but then to move to another sport, do you think maybe some of those early failures and coming back from it is what kind of pushed you to take the leap?
Definitely. I think most of the lessons I've learned have been from triple jump, because that's been the majority of my career. So I think all the lessons I've learned, mentally and physically, have transitioned over to 400 and have taken that kind of mindset and attitude to a new event.
And what was your first big success with 400?
As I said, I think it was the first time when I ran 46 in my first year of doing it. Maybe I've been doing it for 8 months or something. So that let me know like I can do 400. That probably already was better than what I was triple jumping. So
awesome. Yeah. And then is injuries something that's played a lot in a big role in your career?
Yeah, definitely. I had surgery on my knee when I was 18 from triple jumping. I had like bad patella tendonitis just from, like, wasn't one event, it was just from overuse, just years and years of jumping on it. It just became really painful. I had to have surgery. That's something I talk to the kids about every time I do a school, because that's something I learned a lot from. I had like a year off from that, and I used that time to read loads about the event and work on other different things, whether it was strength, and then I learned coming back how to keep myself fit from that, because I never wanted to spend a year out again. So yeah, that injury was that's the main one. That's the only like major injury I've had, but I learned a lot from it.
And what are the main differences that you sort of, now that you've sort of whether you actively rehab it or something, is there something that you do to avoid it in particular?
Yeah, just my number one priority now is health. So I'd rather be healthy and I guess like not as fit than be super fit but and injured. So yeah, I'm always like doing rehab for my knees or ankles, whatever it is. Just keeping the health of my body is a big priority in my training.
So you say you'd rather be healthy than your absolute fittest. What do you mean by that?
So I think you can really push yourself in training, but be carrying injuries. Whereas I think I'd rather be fit and healthy than risking injury, basically.
Because you do see a lot of talk of overtraining, particularly in combat sports and that kind of thing. Is that something that's quite common in 400 metres?
Yeah, I think so. I think in athletics, overtraining can be common. You think sometimes the more you train, the more results you're going to get, but I think you get to a point where you're training too much.
So it's obviously it's this is your whole life. Is there anything in particular that motivates you to get up every morning and go out there and do it?
I think my main motivation is just that I enjoy it. I really enjoy athletics. I love training. I love competing. So I think motivation hasn't ever really been something I've struggled with, to be honest. I just do it because I enjoy it. Yeah, and that gets me up out of bed, and that takes me to training.
So the moments when you wake up and it's raining outside and it's freezing cold, and
there are some times obviously when I might not feel like it as much. I've got a really difficult workout coming up, but I think 'cause I look at it from the perspective of doing it because I enjoy it and I like this. Like, motivation isn't as something I like struggle with, really, or lack of motivation.
Yeah. So obviously huge commitment, and the financial commitment is something that comes up quite a lot, and I know that Sports for Champions has played a role in your career, and then obviously it's going forward. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, how Sports for Champions helped me?
Yeah,
it's helped me massively. Like, obviously I'm unfunded and unsponsored, so Sports Champions has helped me a lot in my career to be able to fund training and the cost of hotels. There's so many expenses being an athlete. You have to eat well, and so that it's definitely helped me just be able to afford those things, basically. And it's like kind of fun. It's funded me, basically.
Awesome. And then obviously it sounds like you're working incredibly hard towards all this stuff, but you're also very talented, because obviously from a young age you moved over to it and you've took to it so quickly. How do you see the role of them two, talent and hard work, playing off against each other?
I think I'm someone who thinks in most things that hard work, like you can achieve a lot through hard work, especially with a skill. You can really learn it and dedicate yourself to it. But I think with athletics, you can't deny that talent is a huge part of it. No physical talent, but even even then, you can improve so much from working hard and getting a good coach and dedicating yourself to it. And so I think they both definitely play a part.
Yeah. Have you seen talented people perhaps not put in the work and maybe fall by the
Loads
wayside?
and loads of times, more often than I've seen it the other way around.
Right. Okay then. Yeah. Because I know that is big in football, and obviously you've spent time around academies and stuff like that. Very interesting. So how often are you training at the moment?
I train about maybe 4 or 5 times a week. I'm in competition season at the moment, so training less than maybe I was during the winter. So yeah, kind of balancing my training sessions around my competitions.
It was quite a packed summer for you.
Yeah.
How is it? Is it beneficial perhaps to not have too long in between competitions because you can kind of tick over at peak?
Yeah. Just hopefully you can kind of maintain that peak for the month or so of the major competitions, and then after it, really really wind down. But yeah, it's probably better that they're not spread apart in like an awkward way.
So what have you got coming up this summer?
Well, the 3 majors are World Champs, Commonwealths and Europeans, and I'll try and qualify for as many of those as I can.
Yeah. Awesome. And then obviously in between competitions, is there anything in particular that you do to keep yourself at that top level?
So as I said, I really try and make sure that I stay healthy and fit. So I like to just doing the basics well. I think eating well, staying hydrated, get as much sleep as I can. I like to do yoga as well, just to keep my body feeling supple and fit, and getting enough rest for each competition.
And in nutrition in particular, are you a good cook? Is that something you like to do?
I think I'm an alright cook. Yeah, I can cook alright, but obviously I'm married to Naomi Metzger now as well, and she's a really good cook, so I think that helps.
Yeah, definitely helps that there's 2 athletes in the house.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Do you eat the same food?
Yeah, more or less.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's cool. Is there a particular cheat food? Like, have you got a go-to?
I wouldn't say necessarily like a go-to, but I do have a sweet tooth. I like the odd sweet, I might have, well, not sweet tooth, but I might have McDonald's or KFC every now and then or something, just as a treat.
Oh, I see. And then obviously with like not being able to eat what you want all the time and having such a stringent training regime, would you say that being a professional athlete is tough perhaps to other avenues you could have gone down?
Yeah, in terms of diet and stuff, it can sometimes feel a little bit tough. Sometimes thinking, if I wasn't an athlete, I'd probably just eat what I want all the time. But then it's a good thing that athletics keeps me kind of healthy in that way. But I'm not someone who's super strict on diet anyway. I don't often feel like, oh no, I really want this, but I can't have it. I think I found a decent balance where it feels very maintainable.
And do you have a favourite sporting hero? Maybe someone you look up to?
I think I've got a few. I'm a United fan, so Ronaldo's up there, and I admire like his longevity because I'm someone who wants to stay in the sport as long as I can because I enjoy it. So it's really cool that he's like 37 and still at a very high level. Then if athletics, obviously Usain Bolt, just because he's Usain Bolt. And then the triple jump record holder, Jonathan Edwards, is one I admire as well because he's from the north of England and he's the world record holder. And then there's a guy called Christian Taylor who's like dominated triple jump for the past 10 years, and he runs 400 as well, so it's kind of similar to myself.
That's awesome. So you've mentioned Usain Bolt there, and it's something that came up in Naomi's podcast also. So I'm guessing you'd have been around 14 when the London 2012 games was on. Is that something that you watched at the time?
Yeah, I think I watched all of his races. Like, he was just, it was amazing to watch how talented he was, and just he put on a show and a performance. It definitely like motivated me it inspired me to get involved in the sport, and yeah.
So do you remember where you were up to in your sort of sporting career at that time?
When I was watching it, well, I would have been triple jumping at that point when I was 14. I would have been triple jumping most of the time when I was watching him, but he still inspired me. Yeah.
Just London 2012 in general, I guess. Because obviously it was so big for the country in terms of sport.
Yeah, that was amazing. I remember obviously that Super Saturday, I think it was called, when we won loads of medals, and it was really inspiring. Yeah.
Is there something in particular that you do to make practice fun, or is it something you just enjoy anyway?
Yeah, as I said, I think I just enjoy it, so I find it fun. But I'm someone who likes I love competing with people in training. I love training with people and not racing against them and stuff. I love the sessions that are more speed based instead of the endurance ones. So if I get to run fast in training, I enjoy that. Yeah, there's something in most sessions that I enjoy. Even if it's weight training, I'll enjoy trying to go for like a PB or something like that. There's always something fun that I take from a training session.
And do you have favourite music that you listen to?
Yeah, I like R&B, hip hop mainly, and I play music as well. Actually, when I grew up playing the piano, so I like to learn songs on the piano and stuff like that as well.
That's good. I imagine that's quite a nice way to switch off outside of training.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And do you find that you listen to music mainly to hype yourself up, or is it to calm yourself down?
Yeah, I think it depends. I think sometimes I need a little bit more hyping up for a competition, so I might listen to something a little bit more like aggressive maybe. But sometimes I might be too anxious, like too early, like say I'm competing in the evening, it's the morning and I'm already hyped, then I might listen to something to just chill me out a little bit so I don't like waste all my energy. So it just depends on my mood.
And do you think that being an athlete has given you more control over your emotions and that kind of thing? Do you think that kind of seeps into the rest of your life?
Yeah, definitely. I think like it teaches you self-awareness a lot. You're really aware of how you're feeling, and you've constantly got to be thought monitoring and not listening to yourself talk, because you have so many negative thoughts coming into your mind before a competition, and you have to just try and detach yourself from those. So I think that's a skill that carries over into everyday life, definitely.
Do you get nervous when you compete?
Yeah, definitely do. I think especially for 400, because there's so much that could go wrong, and you know you're going to be in pain. So do you get nervous? But as I said, enjoyment is something that helps the nerves, because if you're doing it for enjoyment, then you're not as bothered about the outcome, which is the main thing you get nervous about. So that's something that for me that's helped my nerves the most, just focusing on the enjoyment.
So do you think that's come naturally to you, or is that like a thought process you
No, that's a learned thing, like even though I already enjoy it, but I have to be conscious of that I'm doing this to enjoy it. If I focus on the process and the enjoyment, and I try to detach myself from the outcome as much as I can, because the outcome's harder to control, and I spent a lot of my career chasing an outcome and then not doing well, and then you didn't enjoy it and you did badly. So I think, right, I might as well just focus on like, why am I doing this? I might just focus on the enjoyment of it, and then the outcome's more likely to be better anyway, but you're not as bothered about the outcome.
So are you thinking anything while you're running, or is it just totally...
Sometimes I look back at a race and think I just can't remember. I can't remember any of that. I think sometimes a race feels like it takes ages, so it just depends. I try not to consciously think too much during my race. Maybe focus on one thing and then that's it.
So obviously it's a long time to be running. Can you tell us a little bit about the different stages? Presumably not full pelt for the whole time, or do you build up to a top speed?
Well, hopefully it's not too long running. Try to make it as short as possible. But I'll usually have like one or two cues that I think of. So as you were saying before, maybe just like let loose, or go for it, or something like that. And then maybe one thing technical, like I think I'm someone who does better when I do go for it. In the 400, I think I find the last 100 as hard, whether I go out hard or whether I go out slow. So I prefer to go for it and take that risk. I've always ran best when I've done that.
So you don't kind of like build up and save yourself for the finish or anything like that. You kind of are.
Well, I think some runners work well by doing that, having a really controlled first 200 and then building it back up. But I think I found I've done best when I've gone out hard. I mean, obviously not absolute full sprint, but like near enough.
And is there something that you do after a particularly good performance?
I just like to chill and relax, eat what I want, and take the next day off and just enjoy that I'm just chilling and I don't have to be worried about a competition.
And is there something in particular that you feel like you've missed out on, or maybe sacrificed to get yourself to this level in sport?
Obviously there've been some sacrifices, like there's some things you can't do because you don't have the time because you're training. You might miss, when you're younger, you might miss on on some parties or whatever, but it doesn't feel like I'm sacrificing it. It doesn't feel like a sacrifice because, as I said, I enjoy it. I'd probably rather be doing this than most other things anyway, so doesn't feel like too much of a sacrifice.
And then would you have any advice to a young person maybe starting out in sport in general?
Yeah, I think choose a sport first of all that you like. I think the key to longevity is doing something that you enjoy, and then I'd say try not to focus on the outcome, as I said before. No, I'll probably just keep reiterating, not trying to enjoy it, and not being too outcome driven, and work hard as well.
Maybe something more related to 400 meters. Is there something
400?
that someone should really work on if they're in the early stages?
I think first of all, health. Try and stay injury free, and I think for 400 speed's the most important attribute. So if you can find a way to develop your speed, you'll have a big advantage.
Cool. And we touched on it a little bit before, so I know you've got a packed summer. Is there anything else in this year that you're looking forward to, or is there anything else on the calendar?
With athletics?
Yeah, with athletics.
I've got some competitions coming up. I'm just looking forward to competing in them. Competing in Manchester in a continental tour next Friday, so that's always fun because it'll be at my home track, 10 minutes away from my house. And then hopefully, there'll be, as I said, the Worlds, Commonwealths, Europeans. Hopefully, try and be involved in those. And I've done some competitions as well. That's been really fun. I competed in the Birmingham Diamond League. I think it was last week, and I got to compete in Bermuda as well, 2 months ago. So
wow, how was Bermuda? That's crazy.
It was. I didn't run well at all, but I really enjoyed the competition just because Bermuda is such a nice place. So it was fun.
Did you get a chance for a bit of a holiday as well?
Yeah, we enjoyed it. Yeah.
How does it work at these events? Is it do you maybe get it out of the way and then you get a few days in the sun lounger, or?
Well, sometimes you might go out 2 days before, so you can use those days to kind of enjoy it. Sometimes, you might stay a day or two after as well.
Awesome. And then penultimately, I'll do that again actually. And is there something? Do you have a big goal that you're working towards? Is there something that you're really trying to compete
for
my
whole career?
Yeah.
I think I just want to take the sport as far as I can. Obviously, first of all, for 400, I want to see how fast I can go over the next few years, and then we'll see what other events I do as well, whether I return to triple jump or try anything else. But I have a lot of belief, and I feel like I can do something special within the sport. But maybe we should speak again in maybe 15 years.
I'll hold you to that. Yeah, we'll get you back in for another podcast then.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then finally, something that we asked to all our guests: do you have a favourite sporting mantra? I know you kind of touched on a little bit before, but is there anything in particular you kind of repeat and nail down to yourself?
I don't have any particular sporting mantra, but I think just the idea that you hear a lot of sports people saying how failure can be the key to success, because that can be encouraging when you are failing, which is inevitably going to happen. Just realizing that this can make you better. You can learn from this and become better from it. So it's not a mantra, but just that idea.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time today.
No, thank you.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you, and I'll get you back in 15 years and see what you're up to then.
Yeah, okay.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be back soon for some more Sports for Champions fun. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you did, be sure to leave us a like and a subscribe, and check out all our other videos for some more great interviews and content. Bye.